Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this channel. Here I do Reiki, Tarot, Oracle, just kind of, it's a healing center for messages, guidance, insight, advice. If that is something you're interested in, awesome, stick around. This reading, I think I've got a bunch of Oracle cards here. Usually I do Tarot and Oracle. I do have Tarot over here off camera, just in case I feel called to pull from this deck, but at this time, I was thinking to just kind of do a quick oracle reading, get some messages from that, and just kind of see what comes through. I do feel this energy of justice. I am filming this in Libra season, so that could be where the influence comes from. But if you're tuning into this video just in general for messages, there might be something around you getting justice or something that's owed to you. So we'll see what comes through. I don't know. I don't make up messages or whatever. So, but I just feel the energy of justice at this time. So could have something to do with what you're asking about. Okay. There's a message about somebody showing up. Like if you've been showing up for others constantly, or more frequently or often, and you feel like somebody hasn't like shown up for you, I feel like the scales are starting to balance out or needing to balance out. There's something about you showing up for others or somebody in particular, and then there being an opportunity for somebody else to show up for you. So I don't know if this is about support or physically showing up. I do feel like it's physically showing up for maybe about 50% of you. Physically showing up, coming over, attending an event, showing support in that way, and then others is just kind of like reaching out and being a friend, perhaps, checking in, stuff like that. Supporting a project, supporting an idea. Okay, let's see what else we got. I'm being shown ocean waves. They're pretty high. They felt, well, they weren't calm because they were pretty high, but it was like in between. It wasn't like super chaotic though either. So I don't feel the energy of something like being super dangerous, but there are waves. So something is moving. There is a like swiftness, progress, a little bit of an urgency. But it's in between like calm and like extreme. So like I don't know if that makes sense to you. It could also be, I feel like for somebody here it has to do with emotions, because water symbolizes emotions, and so for somebody here I feel like that's a message about like emotions kind of amping up or progressing. So it could have to do with a relationship with a specific person, or your relationship with a project, your relationship with something, your feelings around it, or somebody's feelings towards you. But ultimately, yeah, I just saw like these waves kind of picking up and crashing, but it didn't feel harmful or dangerous or anything like that. So that's what I'll say. All right, so we do have impatience. We have my life is unfolding in divine timing. All delays are beneficial. I'm always at the right place at the right time. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Finding love. Okay. Did kind of touch on that here. And we've got the Phoenix. Okay. New phase, rekindle, renew, transformation, growth, change mind. And then we have victim. Wow, this honestly feels like what I just picked up on, like without looking at the cards. So like with this victim, this kind of brings me back to when I was talking about the scales, where it's like if you're constantly showing up for people or feel like people aren't showing up for you, then that needs to be balanced out. And so I do feel a message for somebody where it's like, this is for somebody in particular. I feel like you might have a mindset that nobody cares about you or is showing up for you, but it might not necessarily be the reality. Okay, so I really would kind of check in with that and kind of think about what showing up for you looks like what kind of expectations you have around that. Is it reasonable? Because I just, for somebody in particular, it just could, you might have a victim mindset where it's like, oh, nobody loves me, nobody cares about me, nobody's doing this. But it could be that you're kind of holding others to like your standard. So an example here is like, if your love language is quality time and physical affection, that's not everybody's love language, right? Somebody might have a love language of giving gifts or paying for stuff, right? And so if you measure somebody by your love language of quality time and affection, then the other person's not going to meet those expectations because that's not what they're used to. That's not what their love language is. Okay, so I do feel like with this card showing up, it's just kind of like reevaluating your mindset and thinking about what kind of standard you're holding people to and if it's reasonable and accurate. Okay, let's see here. So, and then we also have the Phoenix here coming through with changed mind transformation, so that can piggyback off of that other card there. But I do also feel like it has to do with the waves I was shown. The Phoenix is a card of, transformation, birth from the ashes. So with the waves that I saw, it was like something was gaining momentum, and I do feel like it's interesting. I feel like there's fire here because one, we also have the Phoenix, but the fire element can be associated with impatience. So I don't know if you are a fire sign, you're dealing with a fire sign, there's fire in the chart, or it just can be somebody who is kind of wanting things to progress faster than they think they are. But they actually are progressing. I just feel like there's a matter of organic, like progressing organically versus more forcefully. Okay, so I don't know whose energy I'm picking up on that, but if it resonates, then it resonates. If not, then it doesn't. But definitely, there's just a message here of like letting things unfold organically. Also too with these two seahorses, the Finding Love card, there's a message of just because somebody wants to move fast or is being impatient or moving slow, it just kind of feels like there's a message here of like trying to meet in the middle and like meet of the minds, meet in the heart of like respecting each other in that way. So, whether this is a relationship or if this applies in a certain way, feel free to let me know how it resonates. But ultimately, it just feels like something needs to match up or sync up. Because, it could be one person is a little bit more impatient and one is a little bit more patient. And so that can cause like misalignment. So it could also be if it's not dealing with another person, it could be like a project, a process. So like if you're waiting, yep. Could be a process for, I feel like, a good amount of you guys watching. And when I say process, it's coming through of like if you're waiting to hear about an application, if you're waiting to hear about just kind of like going through these steps of like, okay, well, I want to get here. I am here. Wait, here's the end goal. Here's where I am now. I have to file this. I have to reach out to this person. I have to wait to receive this, whatever the steps are in between. And it feels like whatever that process looks like, you could be a little bit impatient about that. You could be reaching out to somebody like 2 or 3 times. You could be, checking an account or checking something frequently. But it just kind of seems like there's a little bit like things will align it's like they're going a little bit slower than you would like them to, but they are aligning. They are. So this is just confirmation, if you need to hear that. Let's see. Let's pull something else. I do also see, they just showed me like this rock, this stone. It's almost like something you see in movies where it's like this rock mechanism, and if you pull a lever, then it like raises. I'm sorry, I don't know how to describe it to you guys, but basically, I feel like they're just kind of telling me that rocks move a little bit slower. It's the earth element. So it's almost like the easy part is pulling the lever, but then it takes like the rest of the mechanics and the gizmos, whatever, to get the rock to raise and lift up. Okay, so yeah, I guess there's just a message of like this, the pace being a little bit more steady and slow, but it is stable. And that's important. So I guess, yeah, there's a message of like the importance of stability. So, you know, you don't want to rush something for it to not work out. You want to allow the stability to kind of build and be there so that when it does work out, you know that it'll be longer lasting. Okay, thank you, Spirit. Let's do a few more cards here. There's a song that's coming up. It's however do you want it? However do you need it? Oh, however do you want it? I have no idea who sings that. It's an old song. I just heard it growing up. But let me try to think about what it's saying. However do you want it? However do you need it? I feel like this is more of a message of like getting your way, or like things going according to your desires, like pursuing your desires, allowing them to come to you, allowing them to manifest, and just kind of keeping your eyes focused. But there's also a message of like stating what you want, right? So there's this phrase, closed mouths don't get fed, right? So if you don't open your mouth and speak, or, you know, if your mouth isn't open, then how can you get fed, right? So it's basically a message of like communicating, stating your wants, stating your needs, so that you can receive it. Okay. There's a happy energy with that though. So I do feel like you are doing that, because there's this energy of like being happy and excited. So I do see you being happy with results, or the progress. Okay. All right, we got 2 of these. Let's do one more of this. And I'm sorry if the shuffling sounds loud. I try to do it off to the side. Okay, these are the ones I feel called to pull. So let's take a look. We got grief. And we got balance. I did say there was the energy of balancing out, Libra coming through. But we have grief and balance. So what is that talking about? That's bringing me back to that victim card that we have earlier, but I feel like there's something else. Go ahead and clarify, please. Oh, I feel like this is about you kind of stepping more into power and not letting like people get away with stuff. We do have the runner card. Okay, hold on. So with this grief card and the balance, I feel like there's a spectrum, right? There's a spectrum of, you know, keeping quiet, keeping to the self, processing own thoughts and feelings without really kind of checking in with others. And so if we're not checking in with others, then our own perception becomes reality, right? And so that goes back to that victim mentality, where it's like, we can start to make assumptions and stuff, but when we talk to a person and clear the air, then that's when we actually get like information, from the other perspective. So basically there's this spectrum of like processing with self, and then there's also this spectrum of like this feels very like controlling, trying to control the situation. So when we operate from fear or anxiety, then sometimes we want to control the situation. And okay, this makes more sense with the runner card, right? So if we have this perception that, okay, so and so didn't text me because they hate me, then we're going to sit with that idea and then react based on that idea. And so with this balance card, it's very much like, okay, no, it's important for you at this time to hear somebody out or hear the other perspective, and not really try to control the situation by like jumping ahead. So like the most common thing is like, oh, this person's gonna hurt me, so I'm gonna go ahead and run away before they hurt me to avoid it. But it's like, okay, if you just talked to them and understood what was going on, then you wouldn't have felt like they were going to hurt you or you needed to run, right? So basically, this message here is talking about getting information, hearing perspectives, hearing people out, and making sure that you're kind of balancing your thoughts, and not being a little bit more self-centered. It's okay to, put yourself first, your thoughts and feelings first. Okay, cool, that's fine. But I just feel like there's a message here about like opening the perspective so that, assumptions aren't becoming like facts, right? Okay. Cool. What else we got? Impatience. Yo, you guys got this twice. I'm not trying to shame you. There's no judgment or anything, but I do think that's kind of cool when cards repeat themselves. But I'll read it again. Okay. My life is unfolding in divine timing. All delays are beneficial. I'm always at the right place at the right time. This is also coming through with a message of you might be, remember when I said somebody here is impatient with the process? You could be putting blame on somebody for any delays. And so, yeah, it just kind of feels like, this might be a good affirmation to just kind of practice a little bit of patience and not necessarily trying to blame others for how slow things are going. So if you kind of just have the mindset of, hey, they're doing the best that they can, or, maybe spirit is trying to support me right now. Maybe this isn't the best thing, or maybe I need to wait. And, later on I'll see that waiting was actually the best thing for me because now I know X, Y, Z, whatever. There's always like some sort of bigger picture, right? There's always more going on than what we can see and what we know. And that's why this balance card was really sending a message of like, okay, hearing people out, thinking about what it's like to be in their shoes, what they have to do on their end, just giving a little bit of grace and understanding here. Okay, last message. Yo, you guys got this finding love card again. So, I guess I'll just end this by saying that with this card coming out again, I definitely feel like things are in alignment for you. It's just about trusting and understanding that patience is needed for whatever situation you're asking about, what energy is around you at this time. Things are progressing, they're making progress, things are aligned. I would just say kind of paying attention to, the stories you're telling yourself, the assumptions you're making, and just kind of being open to the experience and the process. All right. So yeah. I hope that was helpful. I hope that gave you some confirmation or some ideas to kind of help you navigate whatever you're experiencing at this time. Thank you for tuning in, and take care.